Hello, and welcome to the Steve and Mark Discuss podcast. As usual, Steve will raise a subject, discuss it for a few minutes. I will react, and Steve will comment on anything I say, or possibly extend his initial discussion about it. So, over to Steve.
Hi, people. So let me open with this. What lasts longer, a British MP, a British Prime Minister, or a wine gum? The question now is how long Rishi Sunak is going to last as a Prime Minister of the UK, because his government basically has gone to pot. It's stopped functioning.
Mm.
And of course, we talk about the thing about Rwanda and all the problems that is going to create. He said when he was elected, I have four things that I want to do, and if I don't do them by the end of the year, you can call me out.
Mm.
Well, so far he hasn't done any of them. So all he's done is a lot of fence sitting and trying to be diplomatic and not doing very much else. The other day, his immigration minister, Robert Jenrick, yesterday he resigned. It could be one of many. You mentioned to me the other day that over 50 MPs, Conservative MPs, backbench MPs, are not going to be searching for re-election when the general elections are going to take place. And Sunak, he keeps on digging a hole deeper and deeper and deeper every time he speaks. When this Robert Jenrick, he resigned, Rishi Sunak sent him a letter saying, he didn't agree with the resignation. And he said, Jenrick's argument is changing the laws to not abide by the European Court.
Yeah.
Right. So UK can. And Sunak said to this Jenrick in a letter, there will be no point in passing a law that would leave us with nowhere to send people to. Well, the thing is going to change the law, but we don't know if the law is legal, and they're going to end up with nowhere to send the people to, because I think, as I already mentioned in another opportunity, the Rwanda's Foreign Affairs Minister, Vincent Rita, said that Rwanda couldn't go along with the deal if it broke international human rights laws. So I think Rishi Sunak might have changed the laws, and he's going to end up with nowhere to send the people to, which is what he said in this letter is going to come back and bite him on the backside. So anyway, this memorandum about Rwanda, it's an agreement. It isn't a a hard and fast policy yet. It's going to be voted on the next few days. And Rishi Sunak once again is digging his hole deeper and deeper. He says if it doesn't get passed, he's going to call an early general election. Which, it's what's going to get first, that he's going to get voted out by his backbenchers, or if he's going to get voted out by the public.
Well,
what's going to happen first? He's saying, and he's being abused by Keir Starmer the other day, and as also I mentioned, Yvette Cooper was also scathing in what she was saying. and even Suella Braverman,
Hmm.
she's still on the scene,
Oh yeah, she isn't gonna
and
disappear. Yeah.
she really went to town on it yesterday,
Well,
and
yeah,
she says if that doesn't become law,
yeah,
then there's no UK government, and people have been saying that perhaps
yeah.
she's been making the noise because she wants to be the next prime minister. But that you know, it strikes me that there are very few people to choose from in this current set of conservatives
Right.
that, that can take that can has got the balls, if you pardon the expression,
Yeah.
to take on the job and to complete it successfully. Over
Right.
to you.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm gonna be Rishi Sunak's friend for a moment. Yeah.
Try.
Um. Yeah. I mean, I okay. He's a politician, yes, and all that, and he's successful at what he does. He's done business and everything else, I believe. He's not an idiot. Um. He's probably a good man in a bad place at the moment. Um. He doesn't strike me as an evil person. Um, he doesn't strike me as particularly any type of person, to be quite honest. Yeah. Um,
Very bland. Very bland.
yeah. Um, in good times, he'd probably be the ideal leader for the UK. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got no object. Yeah, from that point, I've got no objection to him. I don't think he's a leader of men necessarily, in any sense. I don't think he makes a decision. I find it very difficult. He's a business person, yet he doesn't seem to ever want to make a decision, or he wants to make one by committee, or he wants other people to make the decision for him. Um,
I think the words you're looking for, Mark, are out of his depth.
I'm trying to be his friend at the moment.
Okay.
As we say, play devil's advocate. Yeah, I'm trying to be his friend.
Yeah.
I always had questions about him, but I thought, give the guy a go. I'd still quite like Boris. Boris had his failings. Boris had a lot of failings. Let's be honest
Yeah.
about it. But Boris is Boris. Um, who would I rather spend an hour in a bar with? I don't know if Rishi Sunak drinks, but I'm in metaphor. Who would I rather be talking to for an hour? Probably Boris Johnson, other than, and I always do this as a test. Who would I rather be in the company of? Yeah, and I know I don't elect someone, yeah, because they're a good bloke, but who would I rather be in a social situation with? It would be Boris Johnson over Rishi Sunak. Probably Boris Johnson over Liz Truss. I could imagine Suella being quite interesting to talk to, some of her ideas and views. Not I'd agree with everything, but that's the way I look at it. And you're quite right. Personality is important for a leader. Charisma. I mean, we live in a country where we always manage to have leaders who've got lots of charisma, not always much idea, but lots of charisma, which is probably typical across the Americas. Let's be honest. So yeah, looking out for Rishi Sunak. I hope he realizes the situation he's in. Either that, he doesn't seem to be manipulating the situation for what's good for Rishi Sunak. I think he's generally trying hard to do something. Um, I don't think it's to save Rishi Sunak. I mean, what's the guy really got to lose? He could walk away from the job tomorrow and not be a destroyed man. Yeah. As such. Whoever takes on the leadership of the UK at the moment, I can't remember any worse time in history where it is such a poison chalice, quite bluntly. And it's a sick thing to say about, I love my country of origin. I love my country. Yeah. Not in a ultra right extreme way. I love my country. Yeah. I want to love it. I want what's best for it. I do not believe we got many people in senior positions politically who share my view or my ideals.
Well, you know my view about politicians.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
they're in it for self, and so
Well,
you know,
I'm
you've got
afraid
no argument there.
that's human nature. I mean, we all do things.
Well,
There's very few selfless people in the world. There's people that do good things. Um, we always, I suppose, there's something we try and look for gain on everything we do. But it's. I've heard some sincere people, or people with good ideas that aren't getting listened to, in my opinion. Um, it does strike me. Yeah, I could get into some philosophy. I've been reading a bit about philosophy about a few things recently, and I don't want this podcast to become like that. But I've been reading something about. I'm going to be honest about something about a Romanesque type Northern Empire will rise up, and foretell the end of times, almost, or be one of the precursors to the end of times. Yeah. Now, I'm not suggesting Armageddon's about to come around the corner, although if you follow some of these teachings or these ideals, what's happening in the Middle East is quite close to some foretellings. But yeah, you could take any series of events and say this and this and this. And then there's modern authors that we know about, the ones who wrote The Fourth Turning, a book called The Fourth Turning. And some of the things they say, and I've not read the book, but I've read a lot about it, are sort of falling into place. But maybe that's cycles, and that works in 80-year cycles, etc. Yeah. But there does seem to be an awful lot of how can I put it? Centralization and federal control, be it the EU, and it's all connected, be it the EU,
yep.
Be it the United Nations with the WHO and other things. Yeah. A centralized European military scares the hell out of me. Yeah. The movements of Russia, even, if you actually look at some parallels of things that have been predicted, are worrying. I mean, forget Ukraine. Ukraine is a little dispute over a bit of front garden. Okay, people are dying. I appreciate that. I'm underplaying it, but yeah, the wider issue is, and I don't think Putin's actually a threat. There might be a crazy guy take over Russia one day, with Russia still in quite a dominant position. Yeah, named Gog or something, I believe. But yeah, and then aligning, but Russia is aligning itself with other entities. Israel are up to things, admittedly. Now, I'm not suggesting at the moment what's happening in Gaza is Israeli overreach, or Israel overreach into a situation. They've got to do something to prevent their borders being encroached, attacked. Yeah, again, there's another revelation. The fall of Jerusalem will herald the end of times as well. So, yeah. So again, this is a philosophical argument of things that have been predicted, remembering that a lot of these predictions have come true in the past. And we've now got the ability to wipe ourselves out 7 times over.
Yep.
So we are, for the first time I can ever think in history, and I've studied a lot of history, we are really at the precipice of some major catastrophe.
So's not to leave South America
Yeah.
out of the disputing.
Yeah.
We've now got Venezuela going into Guyana.
Yeah.
In the land that's well, just off the shore a little bit.
Yeah.
It's full of oil, you know. So I'm sure that might flare up a little bit as well.
Of course it is.
But it's still a long way away from Brazil, so I'm still okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, there is a Brazilian, I believe there's a Brazilian build-up of military along the Venezuelan border. I thought we were good friends or reasonably good neighbours, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, Venezuela is a bit of a basket case in South America at the moment, obviously. To what extent you can read it now? I think Maduro has got his Falkland Islands with that case, because even I knew a guy down in Argentina. He's not as crazy as people make him out to be. Of course, he's already played the Falkland Island card, and we're both British, and we can have a view on the Falkland Islands. We're probably pretty much the same there, which is probably worthy of a separate podcast at some point. But
Yeah, I tend to call them Las Malvinas. I do.
oh, yeah,
So
probably,
that'll be a good podcast in the
yeah.
future.
So I'm possibly a slightly different angle than yourself on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might save that one for another time, because that could be a rather interesting discussion. But it is as I'm saying, that there is a lot to be concerned about in the world. Russia, Ukraine, I've never been that worried about. Like I say, the world has lost a bit of interest in that anyway. I think they've realised that. Yeah,
It's done. Been done a long time ago.
Yeah, of course it has. Yeah. I mean, we now know there's a few weapons that work now and a few that don't. So it's been a bit of a testing ground.
Yeah.
Probably for both sides.
I was reading the other day that some of the Marines, the Ukrainian Marines, don't know how to swim.
Well, it's a landlocked country, isn't it, really? I mean,
Well, if you're a Marine, just the name Marine suggests
but when
you're going to have some contact with water.
Yeah, well, when you actually look back in history, there are many sailors in the 17th century, 17th, 16th, 1700s, 1700s, 1800s, who couldn't swim. Which was
because they were all press ganged.
Yeah, they were all press ganged, or they chose not to, because that would only extend their life if they did go overboard. Yeah. You better have been drowned when the sharks get you rather than feel it, sort of thing. But yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, press ganging did actually have some rules associated with it as well. You had to be unemployed, apparently, which you could explain if you're knocked on the back of the head, But yeah. Actually, I mean, the British Navy until quite recently was a bunch of pirates still, and then they actually it became the best navy in the world, because again it was self-interested and actually did have people that wanted to be there who shared in the booties, as it were. But anyway,
so coming back to the original subject, I like that we go off on these going down rabbit holes, and you go down to another one and find something else and find something else. But coming all the way back, do you think that Rishi Sunak is going to last the year as Prime Minister? And we're halfway through December. There you go. That's how down to the wire it is.
Right. So
I'm sorry. I think it's all down to this vote that's going to be on this Rwanda thing.
Yeah, well, he hasn't declared it as a vote of no confidence, which he won't do. Brave man to do it. If you ask me, would I go and put money on him still being there next October? I'd say no, I wouldn't put any money on it at all. Or if it was a very, very good outside bet, I might just put a couple of bob on it.
I think the election's going to be in March anyway.
Well, I said, I think we're going to have an early election. I can't see. I mean, why are all these MPs chucking their coat in now, or chucking the towel in now? And February. No, I mean, okay, it's human nature.
They've got families. Coincidence.
Yeah, they've got families to feed. As much as I'm cynical about them, they've still got to look after number one. If I was in their situation, would I be considering it? I would possibly be considering jumping ship to another political entity, but there's no guarantee of that. how do you play it both ways? Do you find another job and go to another entity, or what? I don't know. We are certainly in very, very strange times in the UK, if not across Europe. Different things happen across Europe. Let's not forget the UK isn't alone in the suffering. I honestly believe, as I said in a previous podcast, it doesn't matter what combination of political parties you have in. And I'm using that quite deliberately because I think I can see something that might just happen. The party that comes third, fourth, and fifth, and possibly sixth may actually take in control. If you sold, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know how we can argue that's democracy, but it might be a weird argument. Or failing that, there's another option I'm not going to mention on a podcast. But it is. I do not think Rishi Sunak. He may survive till Christmas. It may be that he'll certainly be in that seat the other side of Christmas until about mid-January, I'd imagine. I'm thinking.
Okay, there you have it, folks.
Yeah,
I've got it for till the end of next week. And
well, you can't.
Mark's got it for the January.
Well,
but either way, it'll be the fifth. I think there's a fifth prime minister in 2 years or something like that.
well, we're trying to beat the Italians.
Yeah, certainly doing that.